Hi, welcome back, beautiful souls. This is Only Zurich. So, past couple of months, I've been working on several scripts for other what ifs and stuff like that, and helping a few friends. I've also had health problems that have arisen that I was taking care of that just felt left me drained after work and everything. So I haven't really had the energy to really put forth into actually vocalizing and doing like recordings. So that being said, there's this month I had been planning to do like several series. This will be the first one in it. And it is what if Naruto had a white karma seal. That being said, this is going to be a great one. And the series will not have like the canon series because this will play into a more complete series as it's getting closer and closer to Halloween. Some of you may be able to figure it out. That being said, this what if will start off out in space, and Otsutsuki is just they are like just completely fed up with their clan, with how Otsutsuki behave, how they go about conquering worlds and eating the life force off of them. Like they've just become completely disgusted with the Otsutsuki themselves, and with themselves for doing this for a couple thousand years. That being said, he remembers like about Kaguya and decides to make its way to Earth because Kaguya like disappeared, and the last time that they knew, like, she was sent to Earth with another Otsutsuki to produce a god tree and yada yada yada, do whatever Otsutsuki do. So they make their way to Earth. When they get closer, like when it lands on like the Earth, it feels like this massive chakra signature. And curious, it literally teleports there and sees this giant like chakra beast construct and is kind of curious. So it walks through it, and then it sees these chakra chains pin it down and everything, and it just sits there, like observing. And then it sees them seal the bijou inside of a baby, and judging by its smell, what it can see by the child's features, it's the child of these two creatures, and it watches the boy. And another of one of these like weaklings come over to the boy, and it hears the female say that his name is Naruto Uzumaki, and heard what the male wanted the son to be seen as a hero. So for a couple of years, it decides to like actually watch this child, because the sense that it was getting off of the two adults and everything, that it was like these are the type of people that it was actually searching for. So somebody that it could give a white karma seal to, like give it a karma seal without the intentions of actually it reincarnating, essentially making this. In full stop here. I know this isn't how karma seals work and how they get placed and everything work. I've read up on Boruto about the whole thing, even watched a couple of YouTube videos on a few people that theorize about it, and also actually read wiki pages involving karma. So I know this isn't how it works. This is just how I'm doing it to make it part of the series. So it watches this child for a few years, and it's about 4 years. Naruto it sees how Naruto's treated, but also senses the boy's like resolve to be better than like what everyone is saying, and it even feels like the beast that was inside of it has calmed down a little bit. More still evil by what these things humans call, but nonetheless. But over these past 4 years, weird things would be happening. Like Naruto occasionally would see what he would call like ghosts, which is where he gets his scariness. But it's actually been this Otsutsuki just occasionally like walking in front of him, and he just catches a glimpse of an ethereal figure, like down hallways or something like that. And so Naruto's 4 years old, and he's walking out on like the 10th of October because he wants to go to the festival. He's heard so much about it, like in the orphanage, and he wants to go there. So he's walking through the town and everything, and he is okay. I for a second there I thought I wasn't recording. Okay, so where was it? Okay, yeah, he was walking through town, and he's just seeing these sights, and then like people notice him, and they begin to chase him. He gets beaten up by a few drunkards, and when he wakes up in the hospital, he sees like the ghostly figure standing over into like the side of the room, and Gigi is there, and Naruto looks over at the corner, who roos and turns and sees nothing, questions about it, and he's like, Gigi, there's a ghost. And so things like that continue to happen throughout Naruto's childhood for like the next year. Like he's being able to see this weird looking person that apparently he's the only one that can see, and he doesn't know how to explain it. Like the next on his 5th birthday, he gets kicked out of the orphanage, and he's walking around town, and this figure, he sees the figure a couple of times throughout town and tries to hide from it, trying to hide from villagers, and then eventually he gets caught, and they begin to like chase him. But then he sees the figure like motioning for him to like go run that way, taking one of its hands and pointing this way, pointing like a direction and moving it up and down, say like basically explaining to the young boy to like run that way. Naruto, of course, does it because he over the past year he's become a little desensitized to it, and then he gets caught again, and this time like he begins to like get beat like really bad, like beaten really really bad. Sorry about that, someone was knocking at the door. He begins to get beaten really really bad, and he's just sitting there thinking, he's like, I don't want to die. Why do you people always try to hurt me? I've done nothing to you. Screaming out, and like they just cockily like start calling him demon. You're just nothing but a demon brat. You don't deserve to live and everything. Naruto's eyes just like become sullen as like they stab Naruto in like the chest. And the moment they do this, everyone that's in the vicinity gets thrown back by a pulse of chakra, and they get up and they see Naruto like stumbling around, and then he falls back. They run up, begin to like beat him, like kicking him and everything. And no one is noticing that there is a figure watching this in complete horror, like complete disgust. These weaklings are beating on someone like that, and why isn't anybody helping him? Just getting this Otsutsuki's just getting madder and madder with each additional like kick. And eventually, like, Ambu drop down and collect and like stop the fights. These people will be like publicly executed. And Naruto is in the hospital once again. He wakes up and he looks over to like the corner and he sees the ghostly figure just looking at him with like a look of contemplation on their face. And they are and then it just nods like it decided on something, and he walks over and approaches the boy, and he smiles at him and places his hand onto like Naruto's and disappears. Naruto doesn't know what is happening and everything, and he kind of freaks out a little bit about this, but then he roos and walks in, and Naruto like is like, Gigi, why does everyone hate me? Why can't anyone like love me? And Hiruzen is he's not happy about this. So still the same things like happen. But that night when Naruto's asleep, he dreams about like the weird man again, and he sees like him sitting at like a table, like sipping like tea and everything, and just looking at him, just occasionally looking over at him, and then continuing going back to his tea. Naruto approaches and sits down and talks to the and speaks to the man, and he's like, who are you? Where am I? This isn't a dream, is it? The man, and the strange looking man with those what he thought was a Hyuga because of the Byakugan, just looks at him and just smiles and is like, all the hatred, all the suffering, and you still want to be and you're still a decent soul. Yes, you will do. What would you say if I could grant you the power to defend yourself? Naruto's eyes like bug out and wide and everything, and he's like, what do you mean? And the Otsutsuki just chuckles, and it's like, little child, I can grant you my power in a way, but it's up to you to become whatever that you decide. But know this, eventually someone will come to your world. And the man immediately gets up, rushes at the boy, and like grabs like his forehead with his hand, and Naruto just feels like this burning sensation like on his skull, and it stops, and as he pulls back his hand, Naruto notices that there's white markings on like his arms and everything, and he looks up at the man, and the man just smiles at him. That should keep you sane and safe. By the way, there's something sealed in you. You should probably meditate on that. And the man begins to like crumble, and like the wind, what feels like wind brushes by and carries like the essence away. This Otsutsuki, what it did is it basically marked Naruto in a way that it would basically making Naruto somewhat of an incompatible host. So Naruto, with the Kyuubi's help, like the Kyuubi, meanwhile, while this Otsutsuki was marking Naruto, was roaring, fighting for its life to like stay alive, keeping its host alive, pumping more and more chakra. into like Naruto's system to like fight off whatever the fuck this was. It's something the QB has never felt in its life, and it literally feels like this thing will kill it, so it's been fighting back and forth. But then like the QB was like passed out. So when Naruto comes to, like a couple of days later, the nurses and everything notice like his the pulse machine like flatlined and like everything, and then they come in, they see him like convulsing and everything, and this was because the Otsutsuki was like marking him, but he was marking him in a unique way. He was marking him inside of his mindscape, so there wouldn't be any physical appearance until he activates the karma seal for the first time, and like everything will start appearing on his body. So all of that being said, Naruto like wakes up a few days later, after being in a coma for 3 days, and he notices everything around him seems clearer. Like it's brighter, things are more there's more vibrant colors and everything. And he notices that he can feel like his chakra flowing and everything. And he's able to think clearer, and like he's thinking back on everything that he's ever heard, like flashes like demon and everything. And then what that strange man said, there's like something sealed in you. You should probably meditate on it. Naruto closes his eyes and does what he read in a book once. And he closes his eyes and begins to breathe, and then he hears drip, 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 drip. One moment. Sorry about that. I had to take a sip of drink. So he's hearing drip, drip, and he opens his eyes and he finds himself in a sewer. So Naruto follows the path, and he sees like these blue streaks with like white streaks running next to him, kind of circling around him, of like these pipes leading down, and then there's also red pipes coming out of it with the same like weird like white markings wrapped around it. And Naruto is following this path, and he comes to like this huge cage, and he looks into the cage, and he's like, you're the QB. And Kurama just eyes immediately shoot up, and he looks over and he's like, you can see me? And Naruto's like, yeah, it's clear as day. You're orange, but what's with the markings? The QB sighs and he's like, don't want to talk to you, brat. And shoots out a massive amount of like killing its hit. Naruto stumbles back and lands on his butt, and the Kurama begins to like chuckle. That's funny. All that gusto and you're still a scared little brat. And Naruto gets up with an angry face, and this is when Kurama gets a little bit scared, because Naruto's aura completely changes. Like, it becomes like this giant, uncomprehensible, like, aura is just radiating off of him. In the real world, like, the ground around, like, his bed, like, breaks apart. Like, the hospital is shaking and everything. People are, like, running around, like, afraid, trying to, like, figure out what's going on. Hiru's in his office with his ambu, like, his head shoots up, and he's like, that's coming from the hospital, and just leaps out the window in his ambu, like, coming after. They get to the hospital, and Hiruzen can feel it, like, that's Naruto. And they rush into, like, his room. They just see this white aura surrounding Naruto in like his bed, like completely destroyed, and he's just sitting there like kind of cross-legged with his like eyes closed, and he's just radiating like massive amounts of chakra, like just wafting off of him like in pulses, like boom, 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 and they're like getting faster and faster and faster. And then they eventually stop, and Naruto like falls back. Well, while this was happening inside the seal, like Kurama's like yelling, like telling the boy to like calm down, as like it feels its chakra getting drained. Its chakra is like being drained and being added to like the boys, and Naruto finally like calms down and passes out. So they move Naruto to a new room, give him in another bed, and he stays like asleep for like a week for a whole week. During this week, they notice that his malnourished form, like his body begins to like change. His body is healing. The malnourishment is like going away. His muscles are becoming more toned. His skin gets a slightly paler. His hair turns a few shades lighter. And from the times that they've checked like his eyes, they've noticed that his eyes became more, had like golden tinges flying through them. And that, you beautiful souls, is where I'm going to end part 0. Like I do on my channels, this was more so of a palette tester. And if you actually want to see the first episode and not have to wait until the 30th to find out how the story ends or progresses, hit that like button. And if the 200 likes are done within the first 24 hours, I will get the next part out tomorrow. That being said, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Etherios. And thank you, Ganda. Thank you, Sumer. And thank you, Raja. Special thanks to you 5 for helping me out with some of the stories that I've had, and a few suggestions and a few well wishes from a few of you. That being said, I will be posting more videos leading up to the end of this month, and then there may be like a 2 to a 3 week break in between that, because I have some things coming up next month that I'll have to get taken care of. And I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.